idiot proof. I'm not saying he's an idiot, but he has been getting absolutely, like, he's been getting beaten from pillar to post in lane. Like, for Chris JRDB, this is like one of those scenes from the Bible where God, like, declares someone isn't righteous enough and, like, smotes them with boils to, like, or like, to test their righteousness and their faith. Like, that sort of thing. That's what I think. I think they should have put him on something really safe. Something that like an Orianna. Well, Orianna's not really even safe enough. Like a Ziggs even. Ziggs. Lulu would be my big pick because, again, you could build a comp around not Toasties, around Evils, who has been playing well. Also, Toasties likes to play champions like the Hecarim, so the Lulu ult's really effective on him too. But they're so married to this Sivir, which, look, I love Sivir. Sivir's great. She's so good. Like, people don't understand how good Sivir is, right? Like, they don't get it. She's completely different in fives than she is in solo queue. Like, she's just, she's so good. But it's predictable at this point, right? Like, absolutely, Monash knew what UNSW were planning to pick.
Yeah, it's coming to the point now. It's getting a little bit ridiculous, to be honest. And if you look on the side of Monash, though, they do have that similar type of team comp where they're going for that mid-game, all-in type comp. They know that they have this early game prowess over TPZ, and yeah, there you go, Victor lock-in.
He was hovering this. Zia would have been perfect. He's safe in lane, he's a bully, you basically can't counterpick him. His ult means you can disengage, stop the Aurelia, stop the Rek'Sai, Brain not working for a second there. Instead he's on the Victor. Look, Victor's super good as well. Also has the ability to stop the engage. He's really, really relevant no matter how you do in lane generally, but he doesn't have a true escape. The way Victor defends himself by putting stuff in between him and the opposing team members, right? The opposing team. He doesn't have something that he defends himself with. For example, Gragas can body slam away. But Azir has something, has a way to escape, right? He's very, very difficult to gank. He's such long range. He can farm from such a safe distance. Instead, like, he's putting Victor, whose only real escape is his own two legs, into the meat grinder that is LeBlanc.
Oh gosh! Now I will decimate on LeBlanc, and LeBlanc actually got a buff this patch on her W, so she's gonna be making those fast dashes, making all those plays. So hopefully, I feel like Chris is probably gonna have a hard time in this lane now against LeBlanc.
Yeah, look, okay. Part of the reason, if you watch pro games, right? For example, LCS, various, whatever league, LPL, LCK / OGN, whatever you watch, right? They tend to pick Victor very early, and the reason for this is he doesn't have any real counters in lane, right? There's no true counter to Victor, okay? Not really. Maybe Azir. There's no other true counter to Victor. But Decimate, has been living up to his name really heavily in the mid lane, and I don't like the Victor against LeBlanc. Not when you've already been blown out like 2 games in a row. Like, if Chris JRDB was a professional fighter and I was his coach, like, the towel would be getting thrown in. I'm like, no, stop! Like, he's got a family. Right now, he's just been getting... it's been really uncomfortable to watch. But he played teamfights pretty well on Victor last time, so that's interesting. And even if you do lose lane, Victor is still relevant. I need to stop talking about the mid lane for a second.
Actually, in saying that, though, you know what's really interesting? If you look at both sides' team comp, it actually pretty much sums up how they both play. Like, look at it. On the side of TPZ, it's all heavy team fight comp and kite in and out of team fights to slow fight their way through things. Gathered up, being said that they do have Toasters on one of his more comfortable champions to go all in their face in that back line there. And then when you look on the side of Monash, it's all really early game and pick comp. So it's interesting to see how their final team cards do represent their, I guess, best played comp, so they're right
Yeah.
on their comfort picks here, I guess, in terms of comp.
Janna is an animal, right? She's so good. She's going to provide so much usefulness to Sivir with that shield. And the Hecarim also. She also speeds Hecarim up. Really, really cool. Lots of ways to keep the team going fast. But it's like the one game they don't pick Morgana, they have to come up against LeBlanc.
Yeah.
I just think that's funny.
Yeah, they for some reason, I don't know, because Derek seemed to be going straight for that Morgana despite Janna being up for both games actually, and I don't know, yes, like we mentioned before, it's possibly a comfort pick, but I am not entirely sure.
I do like the Janna overall though. It's really cool because TPZ, the team representing UNSW, what they can do is they can disengage with things like the Janna ult or the Gragas ult, right? And then they can re-engage now against a team with significantly less, with this stuff on cooldown, right? So Irelia TP flanks, or she flanks and she comes dashing in. She comes dashing in from the front. It doesn't really matter. It's Irelia. She can get to your back line. Right? Same with Rek'Sai. She tunnels on in, ready to knock up your carries. Your carry who can spell shield herself, by the way. And then you just tell them to all the GTFO, right? You just get them all out of there with that Monsoon ultimate from Janna. And then you can immediately Sivir ult into Hecarim ult. Bam! Hecarim's in the back line. He's all over Corki. Corki has to Valkyrie away. Means Sivir and Victor can, kill the front line while Gragas tanks for them. It's kind of cool. Again, they're really prioritizing team fighting. But they just can't get picked apart like they did last game. Like, I mean that in like a really punny sort of way because they just kept getting picked. They just kept getting picked, like constantly. Ari would come over walls, these short non-5v5s, right? These short, quick, non-5v5 team fights. Well, so that's what they call a skirmish, right? Was so effective for Monash.
That's what got them the, I guess, the lead as well in the first game because they're so good at, I guess, finding these picks and giving themselves this advantage in lanes and just pushing forward. Obviously, their weakness that TPCs will probably try and utilize is the fact that they're gonna force these fights. That's a given, right? But you gotta find fights that they're forcing too hard and catch them in a bad initiate or making strange mistakes on these fights that they're gonna continuously force.
Okay. So that's true, right? Monash need to force fights, but they need to do it in a very specific way, right? To get the scenario I just described, which is essentially the perfect team fight for them, with the possible exception of a home guard teleport Hecarim engage, right? The perfect team fight for them is one where they disengage and then re-engage while everything's still on cooldown, okay? So what they can do if they're confident, now I don't. They have some fail safes like Sivir ult. They have some fail safes like Janna ult. While I'll discuss this while I pause. What actually makes the most sense in my mind for the UNSW team TBZ against Monash is they should group up at objectives. Group up in front of a tower, siege towers. Group up in front of Dragon, right? You don't have to actually start a fight if like LeBlanc and co come to you, right? In which case, you can put them in positions they don't want to be, with less cooldowns than they want to have in order to use to fight you, and re-engage on them and wreck them 5v5. But you don't actually have to start the fight if you're UNSW. You can with like a flank engage from Hecarim or Gragas, or a Gragas ult into some sort of catch, but you don't have to. They can just pressure. As long as they're applying this pressure as a 5-man unit, they're not going to get singled out and murdered again.
True, but yeah, we're looking like Monash once again going for the invade as a group, and TPC is just going for the general straight line, I guess you want to call it. I'm not entirely sure what exactly the formation is called, but yeah, Monash drop down his
where they 4-man punch straight on through. They've opened with this every single time. So if you're UNSW, maybe you consider sitting some people at mid tower, right? Just out of sight at mid tower, maybe just behind it, and you wait until 55 seconds, and you swing in as 5 to try and cut them off and kill them all. But UNSW don't seem to care too much about whether they get the lane swap or not, just period. While Monash really want those lane swaps. So I guess they're just not really willing to fight it because it's just about information. It's just about information about whether or not there's going to be a lane swap. That's why they do that punch through engage, because they want a lane swap, right? As soon as you see them doing that, you know they're going to lane swap pretty much, or at least you've got a decent chance of it. Or they're fearing a lane swap. But I don't know. I think they should have just. I think they just should have just cut them off and fought them. They've done it 3 times in a row. Surely UNSW noticed this.
But why do you think Monash always go for that lane swap though? Is it because they want that early turret, or they just... Because obviously they're going to sacrifice because they're on red team now.
It's because they're afraid of toasties, essentially. They're afraid of toasties. They don't want him getting farm. They don't want to have to. They don't want to have cute Nectarine having to 1v1 him. He's obviously a Hecarim player, right? He was very dominant in that first game on Hecarim. They just don't want to have to deal with that. They would rather just put Hecarim behind the 8-ball to begin with.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And oh, sorry, Lon, I cut you off. Just go.
No, that's okay. I'm just ranting and raving and flailing about. It's like what I was talking about last game. You see, this time around, Hecarim didn't know beforehand that he was going to be. Well, he didn't get lane before his lane opponent this time. So his CS is actually equal, rather than having that like 10 to 15 lead, which he had in the first game, when the lane swap went less successfully.
Right. Okay. Well. I guess it kind of just equalized itself anyways, because both laners are kind of, I guess for whatever reason the US classes called this the Australian meta, and I'm not into why.
Well, no, Australia has got a meta. We do play in a way. It's quite similar to the way the Chinese play, actually. Maybe a little bit less of a talent pool available to us.
No, I was talking about the in terms of the map flipping over. Now yeah. I don't know why they call it the Australian.
I don't know why. I see that, I see it in maybe Australian 5s occasionally, but very rarely in the OPL. Oh well, it doesn't matter.
I have this sneaking suspicions because in what Pastry said in Season 3 and called it that, I'm not sure, or something like that. But anyways, going off topic here, let's go back on track.
While they're just farming up, by the way, this has been a very successful lane swap so far. Both their top laner and their AD carry are ahead in CS. You can't ask for more than that. I was about to say, speaking of Worlds, you're going this year, right?
That's correct, Lon.
Where is it?
I'm going to finals, which is held in Berlin. It's actually all over Europe this year, so I think it's starting in Paris for group stage. I'm not entirely sure where it is in between, but it'll be bouncing around in Europe, and then it finishes up in Berlin. So kind of exciting. We'll see what teams we get there, and then maybe if we're lucky, Lon, our OPL boys pull in a nice win in that wild card, and we get to see them at Worlds. But you never know. See what happens.
Oh, okay, because the map is upside down like Australia. That's why they call it the Australian lane swap, according to chat.
Oh, right.
Look, there's some really rough competition in the international wildcard qualifiers. The Chiefs are going to have problems like Bangkok Titans are there.
Oh, no, my Chenny Jeep does get this nice gank onto Toasty, but he's a bit too close to the turret. Just chucking down the half health, and actually also in mid lane, I will decimate really bullying Chris in the mid lane there.
He is, but the CS totals are basically dead even. 1 CS in the favor of Victor, actually, which is really good. It's really important. LeBlanc, obviously not so good at farming with spells. She does have quite a high base AD for a caster to help her last hit, but it's really difficult. So, that's kind of an advantage as long as Chris JRDB can stay safe. I'd call that a win by any means. Not the win of the game, but that's a good thing. If he can go even out of lane, that will be significantly better than the last 2 games.
Yeah, because he will be, he doesn't really need to do much because he's on Victor, right? So all he really needs to do is use all his skills in a team fight, make sure he doesn't die, and he should be alright. As long as he doesn't get like too far behind, should be okay if he plays passive.
Yeah, exactly. The big difference, though, is LeBlanc has the capacity to go and make plays around the map. Victor is a little bit more limited in this regard.
We get a little bit of a trade in this top lane. Actually, both ADs for the auto attack. Shooter and Louis now roaming up into this top lane. He does. I don't know if he got spotted or not because he went around that outside, and actually maybe the junglers might run into him. But no, never mind. Bomboy actually gets locked up. The heal forced to use, the hook going wide. Jenny G just there for a bit of support, but it's not needed. He's going to go back to farm. Unfortunately, gang unsuccessful, but heal forced to be used.
That's right. And it's a little sad. Gragas, I mean, they wouldn't have been in that position again. But it's really unfortunate for UNSW that Gragas was level 5 and not yet level 6.
Definitely. Probably would have been pretty much 100% kill if he was able to get an ultimate off there, but unfortunate for them. And also, in saying that though, Rek'Sai's level 4 as opposed to Gragas is level 5. It is.
He is 5 CS behind, yeah. You can see that, like, and that comes from the fact that Rek'Sai has been prioritizing the scuttle crabs, I believe it was, and that the scuttle crabs, despite the fact that you can knock them up and reduce their armor, that does take quite a bit of your farming time away. And so when he goes to that early scuttle crab, that means he's prioritizing vision
we
control.
get that double chain coming out for Chris. The barrier forces the flash knockout coming in. Chris flashes as well. Ultimate comes out. First blood going to I will decimate. This is not going good for Chris. And actually, we have another fight in bot lane. Toasties forced to run out of there. He just barely makes it out, and whew, stuff happening all over the map, Lon. And we have action already in this game.
Yes, we do. Aurelia's sustain is just a little bit too much for Hecarim right this moment, though that's a really tough fight to predict which way it's going to go. It's kind of like a game of chicken, the last one to burn their abilities wins.
Right, okay. Well, in terms of scaling though, they both have the same items. What do you think, in terms of, I guess, for each respective champion, what's their strong point in this game?
It's basically identical, actually. As the game progresses in a 1v1, Aurelia will win out against Hecarim. He will not be able to defeat her after she gets a few items. Like, the same items, he will not be able to defeat her, right? He just can't. She does too much damage, she's too much sustain. But, in terms of their effectiveness across the map, in the team, it's pretty much dead even, to be perfectly honest. They both, Aurelia is slightly more focused on killing and less on discord and just creating chaos in the back line. But essentially their job is the same. Dive the back line, create chaos, make it so that their carries can't do their jobs.
Yeah, and look at this. Irelia now sitting so much CS ahead, and this is what they wanted, and obviously this lane swap working really, really well for them. And they're also already starting the dragon as well. Half health. No answer coming in from the side of TPZ. Red team, take that dragon. 9 minutes 37.
Yep. So despite being one tower down, they're actually 500 gold up and having that first dragon. Which is 2 out of 3 games they've gotten the first dragon, which doesn't surprise me at all. And they've all been sub 10 minutes, I believe.
Yeah, they're really, really good at prioritizing that dragon. And also, despite them lane swapping as well, they were able to get dragon control because of that kill really early on for I will decimate.
I'm interested to see. I think Shana is going to be a huge factor in this game. She's such a team fighting like animal, right? Like in ways that people don't like fail to recognize. She's a CC bot. She speeds up your whole team. She's got that ridiculous ult. But the problem hasn't ever been the team fighting from UNSW. Quick fingers on the spell shield there. The problem has been that they haven't been able to utilize that team fighting strength because they've just been getting picked off, right? Or getting into these short skirmishes which Monash just really favor.
Oh, I will decimate deciding to jump in. Does land another chain, goes for the
Both
double
chains.
chain. Here you go, dodges the gravity field, gets a bit of health down, and obviously that ultimate's short cooldown, so it's not the worst thing for him.
No, and despite being killed, Victor's still within 4 CS. No, actually that just changed after that moment then when he dashed. But he was within 4 CS of LeBlanc, but that's not the case anymore.
Yep. Actually, if you look down this, like in terms of CS, Monash are pretty much ahead of everyone other than the jungle, but that's because of,
Yep.
like you mentioned, he's prioritizing that Scuttler Crab. And here we go, Aurelia going right onto Hecarim, and here comes Rek'Sai. Yeah, Toasty's running out of there. That's what a horse does, sprinting himself out of there. It should be alright. And actually, let's have a look at this vision. There's so much vision on this top lane. So Toasties is feeling pretty, like, really safe. And even Rek'Sai got so much pressure, he's gonna get spotted out every time.
Oh, yeah. Well, Rek'Sai, it's kind of like playing against Rengar. You sort of need to place your wards a little bit further out because of her ability to go over walls and things like that. And her, you know, obviously she's around the map so quickly. I think Huey Dewey Louie needs to find somewhere else to gank, because they've had to abort every attempt on LeBlanc, and understandably so, she's super hard to gank. Maybe he should consider, you know, sitting around top lane a little bit more, considering how far Aurelia is playing forwards without a tower. So
yeah, most definitely.
I understand the desire to stop I Will Decimate from going ham and just carrying the game again and just murdering, you know, Chris, but he's not really doing any good. So maybe I think that jungle pressure should be allocated top more than anywhere.
Yeah, I don't know, because Q Nectarine, despite being some CS behind, he's been able to play pretty safe in that top lane, so
well, no,
it would be nice
for him. Ahead in CS.
Oh yeah, sorry, my bad, I'm getting mixed up, because I remember he was playing Hecarim last
Yeah, he was Hecarim last game, that's right.
But, yeah, it's looking pretty good for the side of Monash, to be honest, especially because they're a mid-game team spiking team.
They certainly are. Once Corki gets that, watch to see them try and knock down towers once Corki has the T-Force. They're not really going to worry about it too much before that. And that's because they don't really care about those towers going down. That just creates more room for UNSW to mess up. LeBlanc displaying that mobility.
Hook going wide as well, but yeah, that's what she does. Unfortunately, the change is missing Chris in that lane. They have changed things. Allard, maybe being a bit too optimistic there, Valkyrieing himself out. And actually now, I was gonna say, Decimate just picked up that DHT large rod, so he's gonna be pretty scary. He has no boots, remember, but he does have all those dashes at his utility, so he should be fine.
This is true. I think, honestly, Chris JR...
Oh, we have a duel in the mid lane. Well, we're just talking about that, but actually, both Chris was forced to use his ultimate, and
it was more like warning shots from both sides.
Yeah.
If I was Chris JRDB, I would be heavily considering an Athene's Unholy Chalice right now. Sorry, Unholy Grail. It really provides everything he needs in this lane matchup. MR, you know, mana regen, ability power. Because, I mean, the easiest way for him to farm is just in that laser, right? Like, he doesn't want to actually go anywhere near LeBlanc if he can avoid it.
This is true, and actually the dragon's spawning pretty soon, so we might see some vision denial and some vision setups for that dragon coming up pretty quick. Triforce gets picked up by Corki, so now start entering a quite explosive fight pretty shortly, right? Looking around at the map too.
Well, looking at the map, right? If we look at Janna ex Derek, right? He has a completely full Sidestone right now.
That's true.
And granted, he did just back, but it was full before he backed. All right. You know, I assure you, I checked. He needs to start getting this vision down, particularly with Dragon coming up in literally 1 second.
Actually, Hoodoo Louis gets caught because he's trying to deny a ward, but you know, Bomboy blows everything, and you're on a tank by yourself there. Nothing gonna come out of it. Team, no follow up. Actually, the on the hunt gets propped. There goes that flash belly pop. 3-man ultimate casket there. Chris slays Kenny G, and I Will Decimate taken down as well. And here comes Toasties. He will take another kill, and now their eyes are set on Dragon. Here comes the first Dragon.
Look, if I was I Will Decimate, that as Corki takes the blue buff actually. If I was I Will Decimate, then like when I just died, it would have been in slow motion for me because it was the one bounced auto was coming for him, and there was no way he could escape it. It was already in the air, and it was just like, no. I can just imagine he would just be like, oh man.
Those situations, all you can do is just spam that laugh button on.
Yeah, or the champion mastery.
Oh yeah, there you go. We have that now. I forgot about that. Yeah, now it's back to
somehow I suspect that Evils has champion mastery of Sivir.
I suspect that too, man. Just seeing how many games he's played this tournament.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure. I think even in the round robin as well, I was observing him, and he played a lot of Sivir there too. So I don't know. I feel like maybe they should have prioritized Sivir away from him. They put Evils on an uncomfortable champion, maybe. But no, he might be able to play other champions. We don't know because all we've seen him play is Sivir.
Oh, that's right. Is Sivir. Look, she's fantastic. She really is. If anyone tells you Sivir can't carry, go watch a couple of Deft games, alright? But still, every time, first pick Sivir, every game.
It's well warranted. That champion is just crazy good in rank.
Well,
I'm sorry, team fights.
Team fights, yeah, she is. She's so good. But it's just, you know...
Alfred dodges the boomerang. Here we go, we get a little skirmish in bot lane, but 4-man now. Bot lane for inside of Monash, but look at that wave clear from the barrel.
Well, here's the thing again. Once more, UNSW have spectacular wave clear if they need to use it.
Yeah, like I said previously, both of these teams are playing on comps that they're really comfortable. Actually, the chain lands onto Chris, and our Decimate goes down really low, and actually Chris flashes out of there. Now Chenny G in a bad situation. Toasties uses that ultimate. He's gonna get terrified. The Casket comes in, probably not. I think he was dead anyway. I don't think the explosive Casket was needed there, but a kill nonetheless. It goes to Toasties. Now he's 2-0 on that Hectorum. Getting scary.
You're not wrong. He is getting scary. Oh man, speaking of scary, Evil forced to flash.
Ooh, that was getting pretty close. Evil's feeling a bit of pressure there in that bot lane, but happily farm that out of the way. In terms of vision though, we have that really deep pink ward there too, and once again in in a really good position too. It's a spot that most players generally don't check, like right the brush like right behind red.
Yeah, no, I like that. It's my favorite ward spot to chuck pink. It's really good. I'm just looking at this map, right? And despite the fact that they're up on kills, they're up on towers, they're even for dragons, it just doesn't feel like UNSW or Phonezone are in control of this game at all.
Yeah, like I said, it all comes down to that vision that Monash have right now. Look at it. They have so much vision. Even if TPC are really far ahead of them, they have that vision on them so they can avoid all these undesired team fights to make themselves go further behind. So that's why, even though TPC have this lead, Monash doesn't care. They're just able to walk away from it and not worry about it. Say, well, it's not what we want right now. We just if we can find a pick, then we can get back into this game easily.
Yeah. And to think there's only 20 minutes in the game. And you know, five kills. It feels like more. Maybe it's because the gravitas, like the weight of the best of 3, is like influencing my mind a little.
I was confused. Which team was the one that littered all those wards last game? One?
It was UNSW. I don't know why. But yeah, they were really odd in their ward placement. They seem to have favoured a quantity over quality approach.
And I don't know, I feel like it's a bit night and day though, because last game they went full litter mode, dumping that rubbish bin everywhere, right? And then here they're not putting as much vision down as they were before, and it's probably not so much optimal. Meanwhile, the top lane, those Toasties get hooked. He's right on the turret. The TP comes in. The ultimate comes in from X-Derek. He's still gonna drop down the TP coming in from Cute Nectarine, and they're gonna take this turret. And yeah, they're catching TPZ out of a bad rotation there.
Over and over again.
Yep.
It's quite constant.
I don't know. It was just the fact that TPZ were all over the map, and Monash realized that they're over in that bot side. We can take this turret, so get it for free.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, right? Again, Monash don't have to do anything different from what they're already doing. Just keep doing this. It's working. It's working perfectly. Granted, you know, Corki is not going to have that gigantic spike later in the game, but he will still be relevant. And if they keep knocking down towers, they have equalized the towers now. They are going to start to develop a gold lead. They have, you know, decent control of the dragons historically, right? They've gotten more dragons this game than this series than Monash has. No question about it. I mean, UNSW, I'm the best caster. UNSW, right? But again, they seem to have this real desire to make the big plays, and they just don't have to. Sometimes they work, but there's just no need for it right now. They're in control of the game. As long as, it's up to UNSW to throw a spanner in the works. It's up to them to try and do something. There's no reason for Monash to actually try and make big plays.
Speaking of plays, though, the hook comes in on Hoodoo and Louis. He's going to get jumped in by Bomboy. And here we go. Toasty's running out of there. And on the hunt, Croc. And yeah, TPZ were able to peel themselves back with that on the hunt, but a lot of damage taken, and now they're zoned away from this dragon. To see if they decide to contest it though. A lot of vision denial has taken place for the side of Monash. And here we go, the dragon dance begins. We'll see whether or not... Oh, Bomboy a bit too fast, takes the crit damage, and here we go, OUC jumps in, and they go straight for the dragon. Oh, an early smite comes from Hoodoo and Louis, and Alan takes the dragon away with... I think that was a big bomb from his ultimate, and Siva does take down Rek'Sai in the process, but man, Dragon's... I gotta check that again.
You gotta be happy about that.
Actually gets caught, but he gets land himself out of there. Let's take a look at that again. Let's see if it was a rocket steal. I believe it was.
It's just gonna be you who takes a look at it, I believe. So.
Yeah, I'm gonna look at it so we can confirm with everybody.
Yeah,
actually, it was an auto attack from Ali. He walked up to it and secured the dragon. Crazy steal.
Get wrecked. And it's so depressing because UNSW did everything right? Like, they didn't even need blood for that. They just forced them off the dragon with pressure and the fact that they set up a slow push top lane, right? It was really, really well played. And even though this is a lesson for you kids, even if you do everything right, sometimes it doesn't work out.
Well, to be fair, it was an early smite coming from Hoodoo and Louis. Made me cringe a little bit, and yeah, that window.
The battle lady carries.
Yep.
Siva, not so much of a duelist. She's not renowned for her 1v1 prowess.
Yep. Unfortunately for our friend, he was there on his favorite champion, I'm assuming.
Yep. Now, there's something I should mention, that while, despite the fact that Chenny G has been doing his job, mostly, he isn't having a very fun game. He's way behind on farm, he's died 3 times, it's just not pleasant at all. It's a really good thing for him that they were able to actually secure that dragon, because the dragon is such a huge part of Rek'Sai's kit.
Did you see that? Derek just walked past that pink ward. Like, he sweeped the rush next to red. The pink ward right behind him, walked straight past it. Oh, that ward though. Oh, meanwhile, mid lane, once again, Aldesma putting Chris under so much pressure just with the LeBlanc skills. Yeah, that ward finally... Oh, nope, never mind. I thought it was going to get spotted out. It's still there. Look at that gold efficiency on that ward.
Yep. See, what you need to do, right, is you need to purchase a pink ward and then wait for them to start autoing your pink ward that's already down, and then you put the new pink ward down, and you're like, haha, outplayed.
Ah, he got spotted out. Evil's found it. There you go. 30
it had to happen eventually, but it's a really, really good, really good ward. Keeps you vision of when they're doing red. Keeps you vision of movements through the map. Doesn't get spotted often.
In saying that,
Yep.
I remember when we changed the map, right? And there was like different brushes, and so there's all these weird ward placements. I remember watching a lot of games, and a lot of pros like walk past a lot of these newly pressed brush wards, and now we've
That's
got to a
right.
point now where they realize, oh, we should probably check this ward. Does that mean, Lon? Because we have all these other brushes now that seem to have less frequently checked as positions, right? Then, oh dear.
Okay. So you've got like a hierarchy of where you want that vision to be,
Hmm?
right? Like there are certain places that are always going to give more information than others, and unfortunately, those are the places people are going to check. But you kind of have to like risk it to win it. You know what I mean? Like it's 75 gold or it's 100 gold, and generally you want to put it in these places that generate a certain amount of information. Sure, they get spotted out more often, but it's kind of a gamble about how much information you can get versus whether they're spotted. So, I mean, it's not like people can just run around the map clearing wards all game, right? You're gonna be points where you get it in like high priority vision areas. One example is Baron. One example is that ward spot behind Red that we were just talking about. Eventually, they are gonna get found because they're high priority spots. But the reason they're high priority and the reason they get checked a lot is because they just give you so much information.
Speaking of vision, we're back to where it was before, TPC. Littering that vision. Look at how many wards are down in that dragon side. Still a minute 30 to spawn though. And let's also have a look at some of the item choices here, Lon. Both mid laners choosing to go for that, blanking my mind. What's it called?
Luden's
Help.
Echo?
That's the one. That's the one. Blanked it for a second. Thanks, Lon. And yeah, and actually, I'm just picking up another needlessly large rod too, so he's going to be doing a lot of damage next team fight. And Corky finishing that Blade of the Ruin kin. Actually, I remember he finished IE after he got Triforce. So
Last time.
yeah,
It's a different animal this time. It's because he needs to kite back against Gragas and Hecarim. Well, the IE doesn't allow him to do that, while the Borg does.
I see. Yeah, and you got the double Triforce going on once again. Actually, there's 3 Triforces in this game again, so good item, tons of damage. And Siva has her static shiv ready. And what do you think she's going to build that pickaxe into?
It's got to look. He's going the same build every game. It's going to be a Last Whisper. There's no question. He's got to deal with Frozen Heart Aurelia. He's got to deal with whatever it is. Rek'Sai decides to build, which is probably going to be a random Omen. Or actually, I'm not really sure with the Chain Vest and the. Anyway, I don't imagine he's going Sunfire or anything like that. Sunfire doesn't even build out Giants anymore. Anyway, probably whatever it is he's building. There's a bunch of different armor options.
Oh, Toki's right in the back, and the captain puts. Oh, geez, that captain was so good. He splits the team up, and now freaking TPZ making that plays, threading that captain right through the middle, swinging everyone up, making that pick now. I was just forced to jump out of there, and I got so flustered in that team fight because it happened so quickly, Lon, that geez, TPZ finding it's like, all right, let's go, and Toki's jumping right into the back line to pick everybody up, and wow, TPZ.
That went quite well.
It went really well. It was very quick. They got Dragon right after it as well, and yeah, just well played team fight. And the pause coming in right after.
Well, we didn't want too much excess hype, right? So it's like sweet team fight, then paused, so everyone has a moment to calm down.
Whoa! All right, let's go over what exactly happened in that team fight. So Toasties, I'm assuming he TP'd in that back line there and went straight for. He TP'd up the top in red side jungle where that blue ward is now, and then he ultied his way through to the back line and actually then right after Hujan and Louis placing a beautiful ultimate right in the middle of the front line and the back line to split the team up, and then they just pretty much ate the front line, and it was just I will decimate and Aleph, so they had to retreat pretty much.
That's what's so good about these big displacement abilities like the Monsoon, like the Gragas ult, is they allow you to split the team up, which is just what you were talking about. Such a huge part in team fights. It's also the reason why Bard is considered really strong by some people, because his ability to shut down either of the back or the front line, depending on what you need at the time, right?
Yeah.
And so, look, you can't get hit with that. You can't get hit with the explosive cast, right? And you know, to win the team fight. Not everybody liked that. It was just, it was, that was the moment, right? Like that was the shatter point. It was the perfect barrel for the moment.
Yeah, we get the support is apparently lagging, so we will be having to wait until that issue is solved. So let's have a look at some of the build paths and talk about what are the win conditions for either team.
The win conditions. Unfortunately, they're kind of these guys. As much fun as these games have been, it's been the two conflicting styles every single game, right? Uh, you know, TPZ, you know, UNSW, Phonezone, whatever you want to call them. The one that keeps first picking Sivir. They want a 5v5, right? They want to hang out, not get wrecked, not get picked off, win team fights in the mid to late game. Okay, they're super good at it. They've obviously got a super good team fighting comp. Sivir, Janna. It's to say that's just the bot lane, right? Like we already saw the power of Gragas just a moment ago. Right, the game's starting up, and again, they want to play this skirmish pick style on the side of Monash. Granted, they have a few team fights fail saves, but they really like catching people. This is what they do. They find you when you're like alone, doing your jungle, clearing some creeps. They kill you and they go start a fight that they can win because they outnumber.
Right. Okay.
I was talking about TPZ. They should wait for the counter engage, right? Threaten things like dragon and like, you know, towers, etc. Make Smash come to them. But it hasn't really played out that way because of course not. So I'm gonna actually like revert that advice and say that they need to be first, right? If UNSW want to continue winning, they have to be first. They have to be the one who's they need to go force the fights. I didn't think they should before. I thought they should just wait, but you know what? They're strong now. Corki's power spike has ended. They need to start using that Sivir ult, that Talisman of Ascension, that Gragas ult. I don't even need to get into the whole Hecarim. Like, I don't even need to talk about Hecarim. We all know what he does. We all know how he's you know, strengthened by this team comp.
Oh yeah, that's exactly what happened last team fight, and that's how they wanted. They pulled the trigger. They knew they had the positioning for it. They were in a choke point, got a beautiful ultimate, and they just got the lead out of it. Now they're in a commanding position to try and close out this game.
Kind of reminiscent of the Coup Tigers. They're playing with almost purely defensive wards as they trade abilities back and forth over the wall. Right now, so that's kind of interesting. I don't like it. I'm a big fan of offensive warding, but it makes a certain kind of sense, right? So if you're up against this pick skirmish comp that's going to be looking to aggressively make plays, if you can see, like, if you just hang out on your side of the river defensively, they're going to walk in. They're eventually going to walk into your vision, and you can make those big plays, like the Gragas ult just before. Granted, that was in the middle of the river, but my point is, I think that's some of the logic behind it. They just want to wait for the people who are searching and hunting for picks to get a little out of position, then make these big plays with their huge, like their gigantic set of engaged tools.
Look at that beautiful line of pink wards though on the side of TPZ. It's a beautiful line. They give so much vision for them. Like you mentioned.
So bizarre, but yeah. And look at this. They push up the waves and then they retreat back to their safe zone. If Monash want to win this game, they probably, like, it's really important they take that mid tower. It'll completely open up the map for them. Because if you look at the line of wards, right, it's still at the river. It's reasonably so, still reasonably far forwards in the river. Because they have that mid tower as like a base of operations. Mid tower is creating almost like an invisible wall, right? It's such a focal point of the game. So expect to see. I mean, and obviously you want to take down all three outer towers, right? But the mid tower right now super important. Gets away from the Sivir, which could have been bad because of the red buff. But
yeah, that crit was pretty hard.
It was.
Took a third of his health.
The dark passage out of there, but yeah, expect to see Monash look to take this tower. They might have to do it with like some sneaky rotations if they don't want a 5v5, because that'll make their ability to create picks a lot more relevant again.
Yeah, and now Alan's picking up that last whisper, so he's looking to do a bit more damage, and also, as we saw, Elvis does have that last whisper now. He did so much damage, and actually it gets hooked, but nice spell shoot to block some of the poke coming in from LeBlanc.
Also, I just want to say, right, hats off to Chris JRDB. I literally said that what was happening to him was comparable to like a Bible torture scene, right? Like, I felt like I was watching like an Eli Roth movie over here. But he's actually really come out super strong in this game. He's ahead in farm, he's ahead on kills. LeBlanc had her chance. She really needed to go create those picks, and I joked about this is the first time they didn't pick Morgana.
Yeah, she's really trying to force plays there. Look at how much damage Evils does now on that Silver. And also, relating to what you're talking about with the torture, I think Chenny G is not having the greatest time there. So granted that he is just a looking to be a knock-up bot at the moment.
Unfortunately, that's kind of what you become if you don't get an early game lead on Rek'Sai. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? She's pretty good at it. Push wave, go knock up someone in team fight. Go back, push more waves. But yeah, it's unfortunate because I talked about that Monash didn't have to make any big plays, and it's true. But they did need to continue trying to advance their position. They did need to keep trying to take towers and things like that during their spike. They've kind of missed their opportunity at the moment, and it's going to be a little while before another one presents itself. In terms of scaling, like, again, they're so good at picks, but no way these guys try to venture into a 5v5. Not right now. They'll get romped.
Yeah, speaking of that, we have a 25-second timer left on that dragon, so this is the third dragon for both teams, so this is a pretty important one for whoever gets it. We might see an explosive fight try and contest this dragon.
Are you making a Gragas joke there,
or? Not intentionally, but I guess it turns out to be the right one.
And look, you can see Hecarim, he has started to push that way, but he's backing so that he can make use of that TP home guards, or just run over there.
Yeah, most of these. One quick horse.
Well, no, he's sitting around, yeah. He's waiting to try and get the TP home guard flank. But there aren't really any good positions that will allow him to get in unless he chooses to just go really ham about it.
Yeah, he'll have to go straight from lane, from where that CS is, and go straight in. But he's decided to go for that huge wave bot lane instead. Hopefully join up with his team right after. Or actually, they're trying to make a pick here in this middle. Evil taking so low. The heal force to use. The TP coming in now on the hunt proc. Evil super low. They decide not to take this. Instead, they're gonna back away. They changed their decision last minute, just realizing how low Evil's actually was.
Unfortunately for Toasties, he TP'd in straight onto the box. And at that point, there was nothing to do, right?
Right.
I hope that like, here's the problem, right? That giant wave is still pushing bot lane, but brain work. UNSW, TPZ, they cannot try for it. The big ult coming through.
Oh, there you go. Knock up coming up as well, and TPZ's peeling away, realizing that this is not a favorable team fight for them, and that Monash was setting up that, I guess, barren pit of death for them, and walk away from it.
Well, I mean, the fact of the matter is, if there was a time to try and 5v5 for Monash, that was
Well, actually, they decided to go for the TP onto Baron as they realized that TPZ headed for that dragon. But, yeah, no, TPZ reacting to it wisely and going over there and stopping Monash from getting that Baron. And I guess
but
TP
you know what?
used?
They buy more time for that minion wave bot. That tower is going to go down. Like, it's a house of cards down there. A strong enough breeze will knock that down. And it's funny because, you know, as long as they just keep, you know, hassling them, the wave will eventually push it down because they set up a slow push a while ago.
Yeah, so this is, I guess that's kind of good for them too. Slow playing it. And, you know, it's night and day. Like, they, in terms of Monash, they've been playing really well throughout the series. So you can see that they're really trigger happy in game one, and they slowly develop their style into this more, okay, let's calm down, play it slow, we have an advantage, or even in this situation here, we don't want to exert ourselves too much to push ourselves so far behind. And yeah, it's really good to see that they learned and took that from game one.
I mean, look at this, right? They're threatening Dragon, they're threatening Baron, or they have been, and both side waves are pushing. Like, UNSW really have to do something about this. Like, I'm not saying they're going to lose an inhibitor tower, but that's a lot of minions. That's 3 tank minions.
Oh, so he's getting hooked under tower. The turret goes down though. He's going to get slowed. You got changing double knock up to the front line. Actually, Aurelia gets castigated in. Both is using that ultimate to terrify only Kenny G though. Chris G goes on a killing spree. And they're gonna walk out just limping away though. And they get the turret and a kill. I guess still advantageous for them, but they're still on the run. And I don't think Monash can catch up to them. They're gonna walk away from this, but Monash gonna take this dragon most likely.
Did you notice that? Okay, so UNSW Phonezone were willing to play the the dance around rotation game for as long as On the Hunt and the Talisman of Ascension were on cooldown. Almost the moment they came up, they just started the fight, right? Like they started the fight as soon as they could once they had that integral ability.
Yeah,
which I really like.
Advantages.
But again, I think that I think that this is typical me, right? I'm here talking about like lane manipulation and how that's cool, and you're like, oh my god, a team fight. I'm like, oh yeah, right, players, those guys.
Man, this is what a lot of the viewers are interested in. A select few of us, mind you, including myself, like strategic movement. I'm sure you're a good fan of it.
Strategic movement's great, but nothing beats a good old-fashioned bloodbath, right?
Yeah, especially with these teams and Monash as well. Like they're the ones that are gonna start these fights. And actually,
unfortunately,
since TPZ,
they can't right now.
Yeah, since TPZ are so far ahead, they're the ones dictating when these fights take place. And I guess for Monash, this window of their team spike, I guess, is slowly disappearing.
Okay, so something they can do is they can start trying to utilize Aurelia as a split push threat, because despite the fact that she's 0-1-0, she does have 342 farm, and that's Aurelia, right? She is super difficult to 1v1. Even the Hecarim, with 2 kills on her, will not be able to 1v1 her. She will eventually win that fight. And so that's an option. Aurelia, she scales extremely well, and probably the only person on the side of Monash who does. So, it's really going to be on cute Nectarine, at least to... I don't know if... I suspect if they're going to win this game, they're going to need to make use of that 1v1 potential.
Posty is utilizing the fact that he's able to split push there in that bot lane, but they're going to send cute Nectarine down there, and like you said, I don't think he can deal with her, so now it's just a matter of finding windows.
Here's the thing, he doesn't have to deal with her. He pushed the wave, he has teleport, she doesn't. It's just a matter of whether or not UNSW know that.
Alright. It'd be really cool if we could see the team chat, but unfortunately get to see it, because then we get to see the some of the timers being utilized if they realize it or not as well, but unfortunately we can only see the old chat.
That's right.
Some visual denial coming from Derek here, and look at that again. Look at it's if they have a giant ass Christmas bag. It's just giving presents in the form of wards all over the.
Okay, it hasn't been too bad on the side of Monash. All right, Monash have been pretty strategic with their warding. It's UNSW that have gone for the more carpet bomb approach, right? Just saturate the battlefield with wards.
Yep. And even that, there's 2 pink wards right next to each other, isn't it?
It's really weird. They really want control of that bush. Like that bit of curve right next to their middle tower. They really want control of that. That actually makes a lot of sense, by the way, because as I said, the middle tower is preventing is single-handedly preventing a proper advance out of Monash. So what this means is like they want to be able to defend the sides of it. They don't want to have to deal with Aurelia coming in on the flank as Rek'Sai goes in on the front with LeBlanc, right? It's they as long as they can hold that, they have a decent amount of control of this game. Or
they're just trying to grow some herbs and they don't want to get it destroyed.
I mean, all possible.
Anyway, this game's gone for a while now, so wouldn't be surprised if they started growing rate. It can make a profit out of it, you know.
Alright, let's just it's just like abandoned joke, like let's just, women and children first.
Getting a point now, it's getting pretty late. We're all kind of tired. Hope you guys are still here with us and enjoying the game. Remember, this is for a chance to play in the Sydney Riot Studios. It's probably a big game for a lot of these players as well, being that they're amateur players, so it's kind of an exciting time for them too. And remember, the winning team at the Riot Studios will also have the chance for Riot to make a special event at their university. I'm not entirely sure what that event actually is. I don't even know if there's any details on it now. Do you know anything about it, Lon?
You'd have to check. You'd have to check the. You have to check the website. I don't know anything. I'm just here to talk about video games, man.
Talking about video games in the tournament that we are trying to discuss, right?
Well, yeah, that's true. I mean, look, check the Facebook page. Check Remyrhe Gaming. Remyrhe Gaming. I'm not really Remyrhe Gaming.
You know what? Someone's gonna correct us. Anyway, in saying that, 1 minute to the dragon. And yeah, TPC looking to probably get that movement speed. They don't necessarily need it. It'll be a big help for them, but you know, it stops Monash from inching closer to that 5 dragon as well. But yeah, we're entering almost the 45-minute mark now of the game. Everyone ever so getting closer to their full builds. Everyone getting pretty scary. Evils. IE, BT, Static Shift, Last Whisper, and a QSS now. He's at a point where he's good to go. He really wants to teamfight now.
I agree. I'm just ranting in chat, so I'll stop that now. I should be above that, but I'm not. Okay, so look, it comes down to this. It's all about those cooldowns, right? It's kind of like playing against playing against Sivir. If they can bait the use of that Sivir ultimate, and then start a fight, their chances
decides to go in. The gravity field drops out nice. The Explosion has to pull him back. The Lantern saves him. Toasty now goes to the back. One more taking so much damage. Chris is on a rampage. And here you go. Thresh goes down. Evil splashes into the Jenny G. Alex forced at the back there to flash. He's gonna go all the way back, and Toasty jumps right onto him. He goes super low. He's excited. Evils takes Alan with that boomerang, and now they're looking to go for that Baron.
And Toasty's doing his absolute best he just, you know, pulls out the axe and says, "Nobody leaves till I say they can leave."
Yep. He is the headless horse, making sure everyone goes down to their depths.
Yep.
And the Chenny G. Oh, what? There goes the water.
He wants to put the enemy team to Sleepy Hollow.
Yeah, we'll see.
Best pun OCE.
TPC actually peel away from the Baron. They decided to go for the dragon instead. Yeah, for this free dragon instead of going for the 50-50 chance of a smite steal. You know, maybe not being so confident after that dragon was stolen. Away from
maybe just a little bit. So that's dragon number 3 over to UNSW, who really have turned it on in this last game. Nearly said first. Really, it just unfortunately, it all kind of started to fall apart in the mid lane. Because they were so used to Decimate just coming over the top of JRDB and just like, yeah, passion of the Chris, I think someone said in chat. It's been like that a lot.
You know why? You know why? I think he might actually be secretly half Saiyan. So you know, when
every time
Saiyan
he loses, he gets stronger.
Every time a Saiyan loses, right, he comes back stronger. So after maybe losing lane 2 times, he's probably come back as a Super Saiyan, and that's really showing in this game.
Well, yeah, suffice to say, like, the Blanc was a gamble, right? The Blanc was a confidence play. Again, not so great. She's not so great from behind. 2, she does need to create picks, and while Janna's not Morgana against LeBlanc, she still makes things really hard. Who are you going to target? You can only target Victor or Sivir, realistically. Or maybe you can target Janna, but you're going to use your LeBlanc damage on Janna? Alright, congratulations, you lost a team fight. So, when he picked that LeBlanc, he really needed to make something happen with it. I don't think I saw one gank from I Will Decimate this game.
Well, it's saying that maybe Chris was able to push him in so hard that he wasn't able to leave lane, or they just focused on trying to put Chris really far behind, which obviously on a few occasions, like I remember seeing that Decimate really tried his hardest to try and solo Chris on a number of occasions, and it just wasn't successful. And look at this, 424 CS, 5-1 and 2 at the moment.
Most CS in the game.
Yeah, he's having a fantastic game.
Well, no, okay, this goes back to the biblical stuff I was talking about, right? see, God smoked Job with like horrible boils and stuff to test his faith. but after his faith was like, after that, like he's like was still faithful, he was rewarded. I'm not actually particularly Christian. I just apparently am quoting the Bible today. Just this, like I said, the
You have a
torture that Chris has
surprisingly
been put
high
through.
amount of Christian knowledge, I might say.
I have read the Bible. It's an interesting story, but I'm not here to talk about religion. One way or
Let's
another.
go back to talking about League of Legends and Monash starting this Baron. And actually, Toasty's all the way on the other side. Yeah, he does not have TP at his disposal.
Look at
and
that
Island
crit
took
damage!
so much damage. The crits coming out from Eagles on the hunt proc. And now I will decimate all by himself on the side there. He's supposed to jump over the wall. The box comes out. He was doing Louis. Goes through 2 walls with the box to try and catch I will decimate. And now Monash are on the retreat. What can TPC do here? The chase coming out. Alan jumps out of the way with that Valkyrie. Here goes Coaches. What the get in the back. He catches Alan. Evil just takes him down. Double kill for Evils. And here we go. They're going to go for the tower dive. Bomboy goes out. Triple kill coming in for Evils. And they're going to take this turret. And now 60-second timers. Nearly 70 seconds. And this may look like TPC may take game 3. I don't think there is enough nothing that Monash can do at the moment to stop this push. And TPC are relentless. They're going to go straight for these turrets. I will decimate trying as much as he can to make a play here. And here goes the ultimate comes down. Louis doing Louis so low. But the Janna ultimate is just enough. Toasty's going to stop. I will decimate from going away. Remember from going away. I'll decimate tries to jump in to try and save the game. And that's it. Game 3 going to Team Phonezone. You're going to Sydney. You're already from Sydney, but you're going to play at the Riot Studios in the finals.
Man, that was a game.
Yeah, it just flipped in an instant.
Yeah, it did.
Granted, they were ahead the whole game, and they really played conservatively to make sure that they didn't lose that lead. And that came out in their warding as well.
Yeah, all that like UNSW were trying to do was team fight, right? They're so good at it. They've got such a nasty comp for it, and the comp that was picked by Monash was kind of was based around their assumptions about the third game, which were fair, right? They just dominated the first 2 games early, right? So why should they assume the third will be any different? But then when it was, they didn't have a backup plan.
Yeah, I think they went into game 3 a bit too confident in their lanings, which came out in the pick of in their picks. Like you can see, LeBlanc, Decimate is having such a good series. He realized, oh, I'm gonna beat him in lane anyway, so why don't I just ensure that they're not gonna come back after I destroy my lane, right?
Yeah, exactly. So look, that was a great series. The chat would like to see the damage charts if at all possible. I'll see what we can do about that. We'll have to talk to our producer on this one. So we'll see what we can pull up.
Yeah, but just roughly for you guys, Evils was hitting about 39k damage, followed closely behind by Chris with a 31k damage, and the next most damaging player would have been, I will decimate, sitting on that 20,000. So it's like nearly 10,000 difference between the mid laners, and then 20,000 difference Outlet doing 18k and another 20,000 on top, sitting on Evils, doing all that damage on Sivir, which obviously because he got so far ahead, and his team really did well in peeling for him and making those picks as well, with the great utilization of the Gragas ultimate, I may add, and of course Toasty's jumping in that backline to zone them.
Yep. I'll say this much. Anyone who's playing against UNSW in the future, I really recommend Alistair pick, because they love to dive the backline. They love high movement speed, take Sivir away from them for one. Just I don't know what other tricks they have in the bag, because they refuse to show us any. And maybe they were just sandbagging. Maybe they expected to win this series, and they're saving something sweet for like next round. I don't know, for the final. I just don't know. But that was like they went. Now I'm all for playing the same comp when it works, right? And the same strategy if it works. Why change what's working? Make the other guy figure it out, right? Like, who cares? But you can't really say that was working, right? Like, that didn't really work. I guess it did in the third game, and I guess in theory it worked in the first game, but they should not have won the first game. I don't care how good your team scales. I don't care how good just your team fighting is. They should not have won that first game.
I don't know. Just the throws at turrets and just consecutive misplaying team fights by Monash just put them behind, I guess. And yeah, guys, so that is it for the stream today. Next weekend, I believe it's on August 30, it'll be streamed. Not entirely sure where it will be streamed. Well, you guys have to find out, but it'll be between University of Auckland stream and obviously University of New South Wales Team Phonezone. It's going to be an exciting series. It's going to be best of 5 at the Riot Studios. I don't know if they're going to have player camps or not, but we may even see the players in the flesh as well.
Surely, right? If they're bringing them to the studio, they must, right? Like.
Yeah. But yeah, that's going to be an exciting matchup. Look forward to that next week, guys. And I guess we'll sign out now, Lon. And I have been your caster, Shenang, and my co-caster, Longinus. And this has been streamed to you by... I'm pretty
Remyrhe.
sure
It's Remyrhe.
Remyrhe
Someone said it in chat. Yeah.
Okay.
And make sure you get on Facebook and Twitter to tell everyone about how much better we were than the people who cast the game earlier today. That's really important.
Right.
Make sure you do that.
You know, as much as I like to observe shit talk, alright, I'm not unlike Lon, I'm not like the one type of guy that will probably initiate it, but
I'm kidding. They did a great job as well, of course. Just not as good as this one, and I just want everyone to know that. That's all.
Okay, I guess this is our time to sign out, and we'll catch you guys whenever we next cast.
And I don't know about Shenang, but I'll probably be in the chat for the finals. If any of you guys are there, feel free to say hi, and we'll discuss those games as well. All right.
Yeah.
Bye.